Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever, whenever you're watching this. In saying that though, I know that it may not be the day that you originally had planned, and none of us really know what this Christmas season is going to look like, do we? I wonder how much of it might resemble some of the memories we have from past Christmases. I know when I think back to my childhood, one of the things I always used to look forward to was watching the Star Wars films that would be on the original 4, 5, 6 trilogy. It was one of the first times I remember watching a proper film with my family, and I would sit around and I'd just be gripped by it. And as you can see, it's something that's clearly stuck with me and something I've passed on as a love to my son now. The story of Star Wars, of course, is all about the light against the darkness, this endless battle that is taking place. And on the side of the light, we have the Jedis who are trying to bring good and balance back to the worlds. And then on the side of the darkness, just wanting to bring destruction, is the Sith Lords. Now, if you watch all of the three trilogies of Star Wars, then there are times where, in the films, where the darkness seems to have defeated the light. It just seems to be, it's gone. The light is being beaten, the darkness has won. But then in a really clever film way that they do it, is they show you right at the end of the film this kind of glimmer of hope. They just show you that the light has not been fully extinguished. And then as you keep watching, you see that another Jedi has already been chosen and is being raised up to defeat the darkness again. Well, Andy, that's lovely, but why are you telling us about Star Wars as your Christmas Day message? Well, you may be quite familiar in the Gospel nativity stories from Luke, for example. You might know that story because you'll know the prophecy and then moving to Bethlehem and Jesus being born in a kind of outhouse surrounded by animal muck. And then the shepherds, they have the angels visit them and they come to see baby Jesus. You may be familiar with Matthew's version of it, which again, we get the story of the star and the Magi visiting Herod and then realising that they shouldn't go back to Herod. And you'll know these from the nativities within schools or crib services in churches. What you might not be so familiar with is how John tells his account of the Christmas story. And it starts like this. He says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." See, John gives us a completely different starting point. He's talking about this endless battle between the light and the darkness. Similar to Star Wars, right? Maybe that's where they got the idea from. Who knows? But he goes on to say there was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He only came as witness to the light. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. See, what John is taking us right back to is the creation story. He's saying that in the beginning was this word, and the creation story in Genesis tells us that God speaks his word and the world comes into being. So John is going back to that and saying, look, everything was made through this word. And then this word comes to earth. He goes on to tell us it takes on human flesh. We know that in the other narratives as in the form of a baby. Jesus born as a baby. And so the one through which everything we know was made comes to be on earth. But people did not recognize him. They did not acknowledge him. They did not accept him. They rejected him. We know that if we continue to read the Gospels. But for those that do acknowledge him, for those that did recognize him, for those that saw who he truly was during his earthly ministry, this is what John says. He says, "Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, He gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent or of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. For those who did acknowledge him, they could become children of God. And that's still the same for us today. If we acknowledge him, if we recognise who he truly is, then we too can still become children of God. And that's really important given the year that we've had, because there's been so much darkness that is trying to consume us at the moment, isn't there? And it's so easy to be consumed by that darkness. But in that kind of Star Wars style fight that goes on between the light and the darkness, what is our response? Because the Gospel of John says the light has come into the world and the darkness, it cannot overcome it. So how do we respond this Christmas? Well, let's see what Paul wrote in his letter to the Ephesians. In chapter 5, verse 8, it says this: "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light." See, we were all once part of the darkness, part of the problem, because not through any deliberate kind of action often, but just through our own jealousy, our own anger, we would just cause destruction to those that we love, those that we know. But the Bible says that now you can be a child of God, you can move into the light. And the challenge that it offers to us is to walk in that light, to put away our old self, to put away all of that envy, that jealousy, all the bitter rage, all those things that wind us up, to let go of them and walk in the light of things like humility and love and patience, gentleness, all of those fruits of the Spirit the Bible talks about. So my message for this Christmas is a really simple one to you. So simple, I thought that I'd use the other age-old Christmas tradition of charades to tell you. So I hope you get this at home and remember how to play the game. Did you get it? Merry Christmas, everyone.
We'll take you now to Downing Street to hear an update on the latest restrictions.
Our fight against the coronavirus is happening all across the country, in every home and in every community. Truly extraordinary efforts are underway, from care workers to thousands of volunteers, delivering essential supplies and supporting their neighbours, sharing light this Christmas.
We wish you a happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas, everybody!
Happy Christmas!
Dolly Flowen! Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas all!
Happy Christmas, everybody.
Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas!
Happy Christmas!